I am Prarthana, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to FFE's Virtual Open House 21-22. When we started the virtual meets last year, little did we know that this platform will become our new normal. The past 1 year has tested the entire human race in various degrees, from throwing unforeseen and unimaginable challenges in front of us to upending our lives and causing irreparable damage. And yet, this universal tragedy could not shake the highest form of human spirit, that of optimism. While we have learned several lessons from this crisis, one of the most important one is that we may make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. On that note, I would like to begin today's event by welcoming our esteemed donors, guests, students, facilitators, alumni, and mentors to FFE's Virtual Open House 21-22 for the states of Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Rajasthan, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, and Tripura. Before we move ahead with the first agenda for this evening, I would like to quickly share the poll results with you all. Can we please have the results? All right, so you all can see the poll results on your screen, and it is good to see that 72% of you all here have been, have received your first dose of vaccination. And for those who have not yet, please, we urge you and your family members to get yourselves vaccinated at the earliest. Good to also see 31% have renewed your scholarship, but please note that the window is open. So even if you don't have your documents, please go ahead and create an application. And all of you, I can see, are having your online classes going on, and that is the case in today's new normal. Well, good to see that, a lot of you are connected on FFE's LinkedIn page. I urge all of you to connect to FFE on LinkedIn and on Facebook as well. We will be posting the links in the chat box, so look out for it. Thank you for sharing the results. So moving on, I would now like to invite FFE's Managing Trustee, Dr. Sudha Kidau, to address the gathering. Dr. Sudha has been volunteering for FFE for more than a decade, first in the USA and from 2010 in India, beginning with the establishment of FFE's office in Bangalore. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sudha Kidau. Over to you, Sudha.
Thank you, Prarthana, and good evening, everyone. It is my absolute pleasure and privilege to welcome all of you from 13 different states in India. It's such a privilege that we can all meet today, despite the pandemic, which is still raging in different parts of India. We are very fortunate that this is possible thanks to technology. Last year, when we had the virtual open houses, we thought that would be a year when we had them and we would start in-person meetings. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But the silver lining of this terrible pandemic has been that last year we were able to meet 5,000 plus students and our stakeholders from all over India. So with that, I'd like to welcome all of you to this open house this evening. And it is my absolute pleasure to also welcome our keynote speaker, Mr. Sultan Ahmed, to our event. I'd like to also say that in the midst of the pandemic, we have had sad news of having lost 3 of our students. We have also had 5 of our very valued volunteers, our facilitators, who have succumbed to COVID. We mourn each of those losses that mean a lot to the foundation, but we are just simply fortunate that they were part of our lives. However, we must go on, and we'd like to start this event by telling you a little more about the Foundation for Excellence, where we are today and where we are going. The Foundation for Excellence, this year, we are celebrating our 27th year as an NGO. Next slide, please. And as you all know, the mission of the foundation is to bring about a transformation in the lives of students like you all, very bright, but who need financial assistance. And the way the foundation has been implementing the mission is through the scholarship program. So I want to congratulate all the students here who have received scholarships for several years now from FFE. Next slide, please. Can I have, yes. So the scholarship program, as you all know, is our flagship program. We have been awarding scholarships to students in 2 disciplines, engineering and medicine, for about 25 years. And in our 25th year, we began to also support students pursuing B.Pharm and law degrees in India. So today we are supporting 4 different disciplines. One of the important aspects of the foundation is that we keep in touch with all of you as students and after you graduate as alumni. And please know that you will stay, and we'd like you to be a part of the FFE family for as long as you can, because you are the future of the foundation. And the foundation belongs to each one of you. Next slide, please. A brief history of the foundation. The founder of FFE is Dr. Prabhu Goel and his wife, Mrs. Poonam Goel. You will hear a little bit more about Dr. Prabhu's journey and how FFE was started. But it started in the year 1994 in the US, and it started with Dr. and Mrs. Goel giving a large financial contribution to the foundation. I'm really proud and really humbled that they continue to make significant financial contributions to FFE for the last 27 years. And of course, we have a lot more supporters now joining this movement so that we can together make a difference and help more and more students fulfill their dreams. FFE was started in 1994, and students began to get their scholarships, graduated, and did well. Several of the students in India felt that they wanted to contribute to FFE, and there was no way of doing that. And that is when the Foundation for Excellence India Trust began, and it started in the year 2003. Today, we have an office in Bangalore. We have a team of over 30, and we implement the National Scholarship Program from our Bangalore office. Over the years, FFE has grown. We're supporting more and more students. And also we've got various awards and recognition for our credibility, for our accountability, and for our integrity, all of which are very important for any NGO. And we're very happy that we've, over the years, supported over 25,000 students, and hopefully they will support several more like themselves. Next slide, please. FFE India Trust is governed by a board of trustees, and you can see that their names are here. Dr. Rishikesh Krishna, who is today the director of IIM Bangalore, a premier institute in India. Smita Uttarwar, who's an entrepreneur. Mr. Venk Shukla, who's also an entrepreneur, and he was the first president of FFE. And we have Mr. Arun Kumar, who's a chairman and CEO of KPMG in India. FFE India Trust is able to get donations from all over the world. We have all the necessary documentation and certifications in place to allow this. Next slide, please. So what does FFE India Trust do? We not only implement this national scholarship program, as you all know, this is a very, it is a big, very involved process. And we are able to get scholarships to students every year in time so that it makes a difference to each one of you. We manage this large scholar community. We have a growing family of alumni who get added on, and we have a large volunteer network. Our facilitators, our mentors, and we are very grateful to all of you for participating in this evening's event. We also raise funds. We conduct events like this. We conduct webinars, we conduct workshops and other outreach activities. And how have we grown? We are supported by over 40 corporates, thousands of individuals, including our alumni. We have over 500 volunteers and several charitable trusts that contribute to FFE's growth. Next slide, please. You all know about the eligibility of scholarships. Very high rank in your exams, the nationalized test scores, our criteria are our bar is very high, and I'm really happy that all of you have met the 2 criteria to qualify for FFE scholarship. Next slide, please. How have we been able to conduct our work? It is through our large network of volunteers. Thank you for all of the volunteers who are participating in today's event. All of you scholars are linked or associated with a volunteer. Please make sure to stay in touch with them. And I want to say thank you to all our volunteers for your dedication, your commitment, and making time for FFE, because you are the backbone of the foundation for our work. And your work really makes a difference in how the organization is looked and the way it has grown over the years. Next slide, please. Where are we today? As you can see, the number of scholarships has steadily grown. Our Bangalore office was started in 2010. And since then, you can see a steady growth in the number of scholarships we are awarding to students. And that is also because our donor base has grown and more people are funding the scholarships. You can see the numbers, over 71,000 scholarships have been awarded to over 25,000 students. And we have awarded scholarships over 228 crores in all of these years. I'm very proud that today, FFE, the Foundation for Excellence, is the largest scholarship granting organization in the higher education space in India. And we have a presence in every state. Next slide, please. And how did we do last year? As you can see, we have more engineers than doctors. 77% of our students are engineers. You can also see that we have a larger number of men versus women. We also have students now who've joined the B.Pharm program and the law program. Those numbers are smaller. Last year, we were able to welcome 2,422 new students into our family. So we in total, we gave scholarships to over 7,498 students. And that is 29 crores, over 29 crores in scholarships. And we're very proud that this has been the highest number to date in the history of the foundation. And that happened in the terrible year of the pandemic. I think this also shows how generous our donors have been, how generous our alumni have been. Next slide, please. I'd like to take an opportunity now to introduce all of you to our COO, Mr. Ram Kolavenu, and he will take the program further from here. Ram comes to FFE with over 20 years of experience in both the corporate sector, where he worked in several big companies, including Tesco and others. He also worked most recently at LabourNet, which is it is a social enterprise, and he was able to grow that organization from a startup to over 2,000 individuals and impacting more than 1 million lives. I'm delighted to welcome Ram to this forum, and I'd like to pass on the presentation to Ram, who'll take it from here. Thank you all for your patient listening.
Thank you, Sudha. Hello all, good evening everyone. It's been a pleasure to be part of this journey. Last 8 months has been very, very exciting. To see more and more people, deserving people getting scholarships is very, very satisfying. As you can see, we have, I will take this opportunity to welcome 317 new FFE scholars who got a scholarship last year for the first time. Welcome to the FFE family. You have actually done a phenomenal job in cracking these examinations and being part of the FFE family. So welcome to all of you. I think we can do much better in the gender ratio in the coming year. So I'm hoping that more and more girls will also start being part of FFE family in the coming years. Next slide, please. So thank you for the facilitators who have been volunteering relentlessly to be able to bring in new scholars and then doing all the background work. I urge you to specifically this group to spread more word in the Northeast area. We would like to see more and more people coming from there, the deserving students getting scholarships in the coming years. Next slide, please. So a couple of things which I wanted to touch base today. One is, what is the thing which is actually creating and differentiating us from this scholarship versus any of the others, and then becoming a transformational changes to the students. So all of you are in different phases of your journey from a scholarship, depending on which year you're studying. So we have been trying to see how the soft skills and training which are required are being provided, and placement related activities for engineering, pharma, and in law students are being imparted. And then the mentoring program, which I touched base about briefly, and how we are also integrating that with internship and corporate workshops, so to say. So quickly, next slide, please. So what we have done in a few years back is actually a study to understand what are the gaps which existing. A lot of people will call it, finishing school, or the gap which exists in what is being not taught in the colleges. And more importantly, what is being looked at from the external world, where all of us will want to get into employment basis. Based on this, a framework has been defined and the wraparound has been created, and all of you in some form or the shape have been part of this journey. Quickly, while all of you know what kind of areas where you want to get into, I just want to spend a minute saying that, when we started this about 4 or 5 years back, and some of the alumni who are part of this workshop through open house session today may not have gone through that one, but you have the privilege of going through this one thanks to some of the donors which we have from Michael Susan Foundation and Capgemini, who are helping us in this initiative to be able to help you in becoming much more employable in a better way. So 2 years back, when we did not have this program and when we had graduates coming out versus where we are today, we've seen a huge leap jump on the placement. We have seen a huge jump in the the CTCs which people are coming out with an average salary after this initiative. So I urge all of you to ensure that you're actively taking part of these programs and ensuring that you're cracking these exams religiously, so that you become much more employable figure. The next slide, please. The other big element which again is so crucial in this journey, the entire mentorship program. In this mentorship program, we are bringing in industry experts, people with experience in the industry, and linking that with you on one-on-one mentorship program for the scholars, especially the third-year scholars. So this covers various different topics. Next slide, please, which talks about what are the different topics which are being covered. So, we are trying to look at how your registrars gaps, bring it closer to what industry is expecting, and have the mentor being a sounding board to you. And these mentors are coming from the top organizations of the country. So please take this opportunity. I think a lot of your third-year students have already enrolled into it. Those people who have not, please make sure that you be part of this program. There's a remote mentorship program. It's one-on-one with the industry experts, and you will have an opportunity to learn a lot. And then also your sounding board, and some of you have seen the videos which have been put in during the registration process, and how this entire mentorship program is evolving into the right results. So the next one is the alumni. Sudha touched base about how important alumni is to our journey. You are the one who are actually going to take this mission forward, and thank you for being part of this journey, being very, very active, both from contribution perspective. Next slide, please. And also being part of various different initiatives. Alumni are now our mentors, alumni are now our facilitators. They have been actively working with the corporates to bring in other aspects, and they are religiously donating as well. In a bad year, a pandemic year of last year, we had a maximum donation coming in from the alumni. Thank you for that, and urge you to make this real circle of giving a momentum. Next slide, please. So alumni today are spread across the world. Some of you have joined from different parts of the world. Welcome into it. Welcome to the open house session, and I'm really, really looking forward to more and more participative, interaction with you all in coming days and years. Next slide, please. So we continue to be the pioneer in the space of providing scholarship at for higher education, more so from engineering, medical, law, and pharmaceutical BPharm area. Then rewards and recognitions are something which we continue to keep getting it. We do try to do our best kind of effort, and these are all something which keep following. The next slide, please. The corporate and some of the corporate sponsors who are already part of today's session, and then some of the individual donors as well. Thank you for your patronage. This slides is getting busier and busier. In the coming days, we'll probably have to have multiple slides for these one. And so does our foundations. Next slide, please. Foundations who are actually helping and supporting this. Thank you all. And I think there is a momentum which is being built in. Scholars, the alumni, the entire ecosystem coming together. We are going and doing the backward integration of how we bring in students. Some of you are coming from the foundations where they are helping you in getting the education done there. And we are also now connecting with, with industry as well. So it's a 360 degrees connect which has been done. I'm very happy to see several of our institute representation as well in today's open house session. Thank you for that. And this is our team. And you've been interacting with various different people for different activities from the donors and scholarships and alumni perspective. And we've added a couple of people during the last year. And welcome to the new joinees. And yeah, I want to leave you and enjoy this rest of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ram. And thank you, Sudha. This was definitely a very insightful presentation, and we're all proud to be a part of FFE. I request all the participants to please use the Q&A box in case you have any questions. We will address all of it at the end of this event. Moving on, today, not only do we have our stakeholders from across India, but we also have a very special message from FFE's founder, Dr. Prabhu Goyal, who's currently in the US. An IIT Kanpur alumnus and the recipient of the President's Gold Medal for Academic Excellence, Dr. Goyal received a PhD in electrical engineering from Carnegie Mellon University. Dr. Prabhu Goyal, along with his wife, Mrs. Poonam Goyal, established the Foundation for Excellence in 1994. Dr. Goyal started his career with management and technical positions at IBM, and over time, he has served on the board of directors of many private and public companies. Let us now listen to Dr. Prabhu Goyal's message.
Hello, everyone. A especially warm welcome to our honored guests, our donors, our mentors, our facilitators. And a warm welcome to our FFE scholars and the FFE India team that has put this event together. I want to start by acknowledging the difficult last 12 months that all of you over there have gone through, the 2 waves of COVID and what it has done to the country and to all of us. In a small way, FFE has tried to help the FFE scholars and their families by raising emergency funds in both the first and the second wave. Though the losses that people have experienced are unimaginable, and I hope that India avoids a third wave and is better prepared going forward. Coming back to the open house, I think I want to bring out the fact that the India team the FFE India team has done a remarkable job in putting together training programs, mentoring, skilling, etc., that has made a major difference in the employability of our scholars. In the year 2019 to 2020, over 90% of our scholars found jobs or went on for higher education. I think that's remarkable. Don't you think so? And this year, from 2020 to 2021, the employment rate is significantly better than what one would expect in this time frame. And I think we expect to do as well as the prior year. So thank you to the FFE India team. And I want to use this opportunity to remind the FFE scholars that they must take full advantage of all the programs that have been put together for them. the training, the skilling programs, the mentoring programs, all the training that comes along with it, as far as interviewing and various other courses that we offer, entrepreneurship, etc., to be able to maximize what they get out of the organization and employ it in their professional careers. I would also welcome our donors, facilitators, as well as mentors to please join these programs and make these programs even more successful. I think that would be very, very welcome. I want to also point out that the FFE scholars and alumni have done an incredible job in the last 12 months, or the previous 12 months, 1920, in raising funds from their corporates. And it's almost they have doubled the amount of money that they raised in a single year from the year prior. I think that's a fantastic way to give back, and I encourage that, and I applaud the FFE scholars for that. Going forward, I think it's very important for the FFE scholars to stay connected with FFE and to the alumni, to each other, because this is a network of over 10,000 people that has a lot of power in this network. When you work with each other, you can actually be thinking about taking advantage of this network for getting great advice, for finding new jobs, references to job openings that might be out there, references to career counseling, new opportunities that you might be looking for, because this is how the network works. People in the network are very valuable because there's no other way you can get this kind of information and advice. So I would strongly encourage you to stay connected with the alumni network and leverage it and give into it as well. Again, I would like to end by saying I hope you all have a wonderful open house today, and I thank all our guests for being here to make this event successful, and I hope our FFE scholars go back and say it was very worthwhile. Thank you.
A wonderful and inspiring message from FFE's founder, Dr. Prabhu Goyal. We are delighted today to have with us Mr. Syed Sultan Ahmed from LXL Ideas, Bangalore, as our keynote speaker for the evening. Mr. Sultan is a first-generation social entrepreneur and winner of 6 President of India's National Film Awards. A passionate educator, prolific speaker, film producer, publisher, and education blogger, Mr. Sultan is a chemical engineer, and he also holds a master's degree in entrepreneurship from MIT Boston. Mr. Sultan is the founder and chief learner of LXL Ideas, an organization that enables learning for life by creating experiences through its films, events, research, and publications. In a career spanning almost 2 decades, Mr. Sultan has created various award-winning events that have given generations of school students across Asia a platform to express their talents. He is also the publisher of Mentor magazine that focuses on school leadership in South Asia and Middle East. Mr. Sultan believes in living life to the fullest. His interest includes long-distance rides on his Harley, exploring the world through his travels, horse riding, and trying different cuisines. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Syed Sultan Ahmed. Over to you, Mr. Sultan.
Thank you, Prarthana. Good evening, everybody. And it's such a pleasure to be here as part of this virtual open house. And the past few minutes, it was very heartening to note the kind of amazing work that FFE is doing. First of all, congratulations to all the scholars. I think you guys are really lucky to have this opportunity. And I'm going to define that word luck for you during the course of my talk. And also, especially to the volunteers, you're doing some amazing work. I genuinely believe that we live in a fantastic world and there's goodness in everybody. Unfortunately, the side of people that a lot of us get exposed to a lot of times seems to be quite negative. But there's goodness in all of us. And I'm so glad to see the goodness in all the volunteers that's coming out, in all the donors, in all the sponsors, to make the entire effort of FFE so impactful and so far-reaching. That's a wonderful word. There's literally the world map there with alumni all over the world. So here I am, invited to talk to you in this open house, and I need to be talking to you about a few things that maybe my mother would still find it very difficult to believe, because she always thought that I was a useless nut, and it was simply because I was never good in studies. So when I studied my chemical engineering, I studied a lot. Normally people study for 4 years and I studied for 6. You know what that means. There were 2 years of my life where I actually had to flunk in my engineering college. Now, when I look back, and I'm so glad, because I had an opportunity to be in college for 6 years. I was good at something, and that was at speaking and public speaking and theater. And I had an opportunity for 6 years to represent my university and my college, which today is an integral part of my career. So nothing's actually bad when you look back in hindsight. What was probably the worst years of my life is now I look back as some of the best years of my life. I was a failure. That's exactly what I was called when I was studying engineering. But then today I get invited to, advise the government of India and the Ministry of HRD on matters related to education. So that's pretty exciting journey that I've had. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes to talk to you about some of the aspects of my journey. And then I want to share with you 3 skills that I've learned. And probably that's what helps me and my organization stay ahead in the space that we work. And also 3 things that I personally value a lot, which also whenever I've looked at some of the most successful people around me, value and key reasons to their success. So those are the 2 things that I'm going to share. And finally, I'm going to talk to you about the school that I still attend, right? So that's in a nutshell what I'm going to be talking to you about today. So let me begin. To begin with, I do work in the education space, and I've been doing this for 20 years. And the direction of my work has always been that there's a lot more to life than academic grades and a job. What's more important is for us to prepare ourselves to live a better life. And my journey of life has been helping schools and students and teachers and governments to come up with a way of how do you prepare children for life. So I started off with various experiments. So my life has been a massive journey of experiments. I cannot begin to tell you how many times I've failed. And the more I failed, the more I've learned and the more I've moved on. I started off a company that did training in public speaking. I realized that public speaking is not enough. We need to teach children and youngsters communication skills. So I led an organization that did communication skills. And very early in my career, I introduced life skills as a part of the career, as a part of the school curriculum. This was way back in 2000, 21 years ago. And life skills became a part of the CBSE curriculum only in 2010, which is 10 years ahead of my times. I started a student information management system, a tech company. When I was still in college in 99, I was funded by Wipro, and that company tanked. It bombed after 1.5 years, and I blew up $500,000. This is 21 years ago. And the problem was that I was 10 years ahead of my life. In 2010, I realized that I've been doing a lot of training programs and teaching, but I needed a medium that was more impactful. So I went on a journey of discovering cinema. And I believe that cinema is one of the most impactful mediums that's out there. It influences people, it influences societies. And then I had a question, and the simple question was, why don't people use cinema and film for teaching and learning? Why is it only for entertainment? And I come up with this project called School Cinema. To cut the long story short, we're the largest producers of children's films. We've won 7 national awards from the President of India. We've been to over 400 film festivals. It's still that question. How can I make life learning more relevant in education? So remember, while you are learning and preparing for your entrance exams, and what FFE is trying to do is to make you live a better life. It's not just about cracking an exam. So in all of this journey, I've had the opportunity to work with governments in different countries. I've personally taught in 18 countries, It's a hobby of mine to visit different countries and work with schools over there. I have learned, apart from India, I've done, large programs in the UK as well as in the United States. In spite of all of this, for me, my biggest teacher has been my travels. And I want to start off today's, session with you and tell you how important it is for us to expose ourselves to the world. And remember, you guys as scholars are not just that average kid in school or college. You've been chosen to be a part of the FFE, cohort because there's something special about you. And what I realized is I found myself when I traveled. The curriculum was the city and the atmosphere. The teachers were the people that I met. The experiments was the food that I tasted, or the cuisines, or when I had those different experiences in those places. And I can't begin to tell you how much richer travel has made me. It has made me realize that people around the world are so similar. It has made me understand the problems of people. And as an entrepreneur, there's a single line definition that I have of being an entrepreneur. Understand people, identify problems, solve them. You're on a journey of entrepreneurship. I've done my entrepreneur masters from the MIT, the Sloan School at MIT, and I cannot begin to tell you how much more my travels have taught me more than my MIT. And in travels, it's the people. So in all these journeys, in all these learnings that I've had, I believe that there are three key skills that, life has taught me. And this is what I want to share with you. The first skill that I believe that you need to possess to achieve no matter what you would want to do in your life is your ability to learn. Not your ability to know, not your ability to solve, not your ability to crack an exam. It's your ability to learn. One of the statements that I personally dislike, which I hear a lot from elders, from educators, is, when you complete your education, you will be settled. Let me assure you, there's no concept of completing education. There's no concept of settling in life, because life is a journey. And every stage, what takes you to the next milestone is your ability to learn. And to give you some examples, when I was studying my engineering, I worked with a printing press. I worked as a secretary in a law firm. I worked with a photographer and helped him backstage. I did theater professionally. And all these today are absolutely invaluable. At that point of time, a lot of people around me thought that these have nothing to do with your chemical engineering. But today, it has everything to do with me as a person, as a personality. And that is the skill that I probably picked up by exposing myself to different countries and cultures and occupations and professions. Learn to learn and keep this a constant journey all your life. The more you learn, the more you realize how little we know. The more you travel, the more you realize how big the world is. That's the first skill. The second one is learn to adapt. The past 1 year has taught the world adaptation like no other course or school or book could have. Life is the big teacher. And we've all learned to adapt. Schools have gone digital. The open house today, we are interacting digitally. There are people from 13 states, I'm told, that are listening into this open house. We're all gone digital. And we've learned to adapt. We've learned to understand the importance of a mask, the importance of health. We're all learning, but over here we've been forced to learn to adapt. But on the other hand, you have a large segment of the world which uses statements like, this is how the way the world is. This is how it should be. I invite you to start questioning that. When I use the word start questioning, I'm not inviting you to have an argument with every person you find, whether it's your mother, father, your brother, or your classmate, or your teacher. Have those dialogues and conversations with yourself. Ask questions to yourself. No matter what answers you seek, Lord Buddha said, what you seek lies within you. Adaptation is a question that you ask, do I resist or do I adapt? Do I change or do I conform? You are supposed to be change makers. And if you think you can change the world, you need to start thinking of adapting. Adapting, not accepting. They're two very different things. So learning to learn, number one, learning to adapt. And the third one is a very interesting one. And for me, it now when I look back at my life, there are lots of times that we've probably done that and we're doing that even today. There's a skill called learn to think digitally. And you've heard a lot of people talk to you about this. But what I'm telling you is learn to think digitally. It's a combination of physical and digital. Because no matter what digital or technology or intelligence, artificial intelligence, or you talk about machine learning, all of that on one side, they're all meaningless if they can't bring in an element of physicality to it. So the future, I believe, is a culmination of all kinds of sciences with human sciences, with design, with art, with aesthetics, with psychology, with understanding of the human mind, with understanding of the planet, with understanding of all the living beings. So start thinking digital. If you're a doctor and studying to be a doctor, while you have the human anatomy, can you start thinking of how the digital world, the technology world can make a difference? Those are going to be the breakthroughs in future. Those are going to be the breakthroughs that you guys will be bringing in. So while you are on this journey of learning, and a lot of our learning is about technology, it's about innovation, don't forget the humankind. Don't forget the natural kind. Because at the end of the day, no matter what we are learning to do, whatever innovations, it's always for the humankind. And the more you can understand the humankind, so digital, the physicality of life, as well as the digital world. So these are the three key skills that I believe are the reason for the success of my organization and a lot of organizations that I see. Now, moving on, while these are the learning aspects that I feel that these are skills that you need to possess, there are three things that you need to value. And probably people like me who've learned it from experience, learn some of these things a little later. The first and the most important for me is relationships and people. No matter who you are and what you achieve, no matter how you go up in life and how wide you become in terms of your career, it's the people in your life. See, today you have a mentor and volunteers from FFE who are supporting you. You've got your professors in your college who are giving you that guidance to take that next step. And eventually, at some point in life, you're going to take off, you're going to fly. And remember, that's the time you need to remember relationships. There's that element of giving back. If FFE is giving something to you today, why aren't you? Your dreams have to be to go back and create an organization that does an impact, or come back to FFE and add value to the work that they're doing. Relationships is what gives us happiness. Remember, at the end of all your achievement, what everyone starts seeking is happiness and satisfaction, and that's best got through relationship. Your mother, your father, your brothers, your sisters, your friends, your classmates from school, the teachers, your relatives. These are all people that make you who you are today. You're a sum total of all of their influences. Value those relationships, because tomorrow, if you're a corporate leader, a good corporate leader is somebody who values relationships, who understands people. And that's a skill that is tremendously valuable, both in your personal as well as in your professional life. The second thing, today sounds cliche because of the COVID situation, but I've always believed in living a healthy life. Value health. Because it's literally like you're starting this race of life. You're at the starting line. You're in your second year and third year of your engineering or medicine. A couple of years down the line, you're going to be doing your master's, and then you're ready to run this race of life. You need to be fit to run this race of life. You need to be able to take the stresses and the pressures, because as you keep growing, as you keep achieving more, the responsibilities on you would be much larger. And that's when health matters the most. Don't wait till, Dalai Lama was once asked to tell a joke, and I really respect him for such an amazing personality that he is. He said, I don't know a joke, but I can tell you a fact. He says that when I look at the world around me, for the first 30, 40 years of their life, I see everyone is, running around all over the place, sacrificing their families, sacrificing relationships and their health to make money. And after they have made the money, when they are 50 and 60, then they are spending the rest of their life spending their money to get back their health and relationships. So value health, value relationships. Make sure that those 6-8 hours of sleep that you get is not a sacrifice. It's important for your body. While you make the best use of the other 16 hours that you're awake. Value food because your body needs the food, your body needs the sleep, and most important, because I kind of get a sense of the kind of people you are. Don't become a nerd who's lost his hobbies. Don't become a nerd who's lost his sport. Don't become a nerd who's lost his passions for doing physical outdoor activities. Go out for that trek, go for that holiday, go out on that cycle or a bicycle ride. You know, my best moments are when I'm on my bike and I'm going this long distance, and that's when I feel life is worth it. So don't sacrifice your health, right? And the last thing for you to value is just be positive. You know, there is Corona. Yes, there is Corona. Schools are not physical. Yeah, it's digital. There's too many challenges out there. Yes, there are too many challenges out there. Either you have a choice to crib about it, or you figure out a way to look at it and say, what can I do about it? And how can I think more positively in this scenario? Achievers are not those who did not face any kind of hardships. Achievers are those who overcome those hardships. So those are those three important lessons that I've picked up in my life. Learn to adapt, and learn to think digital. The three things that I value a lot, and I believe that you should value as well, because that's what life means and that's what success means: relationships, health, and gratitude. Let me just end by telling you a simple story about this young man who went to sea to pick up seawater. This guy was in a hurry, so he landed up going to the sea, and he realized he has not gotten anything with him. So he goes with his 2 palms and picks up some seawater, and by the time he lands up coming home, most of it is gone. And then he realizes that, it was my mistake. I should have gone more prepared. So he decides the next day to take a bucket with him. So he goes to the sea and gets some seawater and comes back home and realizes that he's got a bucket of water. But then he's slightly greedy. He said that, why do I only have a bucket of water? I think I should have been more prepared. So he decides to take this big barrel on a trolley, takes the big barrel to the sea, picks up seawater, comes back home and admires the seawater and says, wow, it's not just a bucket, not a handful. I've got a whole barrel of water. And then he looks at the barrel and says, I think I could do better. So he goes and rents a tractor with a big tanker behind it, goes to the sea and fetches a full tanker of water and comes back. And he's very pleased with himself. And he says, finally, I've got way more, because everyone I see around has got a bucket of water. Somebody's got, some of them have got only a barrel of water. I've got a tanker of water. A thought comes to his mind and says, you know what? I'm supposed to be a smart engineer. Why don't I put a pipe and a pump set, and I keep having a regular supply of water? So he has this pipe and a pump set, and he's got a regular supply of seawater to his house. And as he's sitting and admiring his skill sets and his ability to have more water than everybody else that he knows around him, a question comes in his mind. And that question is, I have water, but how much is left behind in the sea? Remember, all of you scholars of FFE, your life tomorrow is like you going to the sea to pick up water. If you go with your empty hands and bare hands, you can't complain that you only had a handful of water. If you only have a bucket, you can't look at somebody with a barrel and complain that they have more water. Life is like that sea. It's going to give you much more than you can wildly imagine. How prepared are you to go out there and get the world for yourself? So I hope and pray that you are a lot more prepared to face the challenges of life with your positivity, with your relationships, and with your constant learning. So with this, I'd like to end, and hopefully my words and some of my experiences would add value to your lovely journey. Congratulations to FFE. You're doing a fantastic job. And the scholars, awesome work to come so far. And I wish the very best for you guys.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sultan, for this motivating and powerful message. Each one of us here have had some takeaway from your address. Thank you for your time to join us this evening. We truly appreciate it. Participants, a gentle reminder. Thank you. Participants, a gentle reminder to please continue posting your questions in the Q&A box. Moving on, FFE has been extremely fortunate to be backed by a team of highly motivated and dedicated facilitators who have been helping FFE through their tireless efforts and voluntary services. Today, we have with us two video messages from our facilitators, Mr. Ashok Kumar Ghosh from Bihar, who has been actively involved with FFE since 2014, and from Rajasthan, Mr. Sunil Indoria. Can we please have their videos on?
I am Ashok Ghosh from Patna. I am working as a facilitator for FFE since 2014. It was a wonderful experience for me. I came across quite a large number of students from very, very poor strata of society. And I had first-hand experience of what poverty is and how the meritorious students are coping with poverty, and despite poverty, they are continuing their study. FFE scholarship is a great help for them, and I always feel satisfaction whenever through my intervention any poor student gets a scholarship for continuing the study. The exceptional thing that I came across, that I experienced for FFE, is the last 1.5 years, where despite COVID pandemic, the process of FFE scholarship was not blocked. We converted, the team converted to the virtual mode, and it was very successful. Despite all the odds, we were able to complete the scholarship process, and many students will get benefited. And I think that this was more convenient because there was no hassle of travel for the students coming from different parts of Bihar and other states, and also the parents. Now we are very conveniently interacting with them through video calling, Zoom conference, and that makes it easier for both me and also the students applying for it. I wish for a grand future, and I'm hopeful that more and more donors will come forward to help the poor students. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Sunil Indoria. I have been associated with Foundation for Excellence from last 2 years as a facilitator. This year I am mentoring 8 students across different parts of India. During my association with Foundation, I have realized that there are uncounted number of students who are academically bright, have consistent academic track record, and have dreams to realize, but their humble background and lack of resources stop them to deliver on their dreams. And that is where FFE plays a role of catalyst by helping them in realizing their dreams. FFE not only helps in terms of scholarship, but post-selection also helps students to identify the gap with respect to other students, such as communication skills, personality development, and industry-oriented program, to name a few. One of the program by FFE is corporate volunteer program, where a student is connected to a corporate employee and he or she can dance through what is going to come in their career. And it helps the students to prepare themselves as a better candidate. Personally, I believe education is the best way to transform and empower an individual, a family, and a society. As part of this, I also play a role of corporate donor, where my employer equally matches the grant. This circle of giving helps FFE to prepare next generation of doctors, engineers, and many more skilled professionals by investing in students who deserve to be invested. I am thankful and grateful to be part of FFE and help in my little capacity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ashok Ghosh and Mr. Sunil, for your wonderful messages. We are in fact grateful to each one of our facilitators who are the backbone of our organization, and we are glad to have some of them with us here today. Let us now take a look at all our facilitators from Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Rajasthan, and the states of Northeast India. Today, we are also recognizing some of our facilitators from these states. I would request you all to please join me in congratulating them and cheering for them by sending messages on the chat box as their names are being called out. I would now request Dr. Sudha to take over, please.
Thank you, Prathana. Now, volunteering is at the very core of being a human, and no one has made it through life without someone's help. I think all of you will agree with that statement and that quote. I want to thank all our wonderful facilitators, our volunteers who have been giving all of their time, their resources, and a tremendous amount of energy being spent in this effort to help the organization verify students, their background, and ensuring that students qualify for our scholarships. Your work is very important for our organization to succeed. I'm deeply grateful, and I want to say a great big thank you. Today, as a token of our appreciation, we would like to give certificates of appreciation to a few of our facilitators from the states that are attending the event today. I'd like to begin by calling out their names. Next slide, please. And I want to say thank you to everyone for your dedication and for your continued support of our work. Mr. Suresh Ranjan Goduka from Assam, Mr. Krishna Kumar Singh from Bihar, Mamta Sinha from Bihar, Anil Kumar Sharma from Bihar, Preeti Shukla from Chhattisgarh, Manohar Lal Barsainia from Chhattisgarh, Aruna Devi from Manipur, Sangtang Yuto from Nagaland, and Chandradatta Sharma from Rajasthan. I'm also very proud that of our 37 volunteers in these states, 11 of them are our very own alumni, our FFE alumni, who are beginning to give back to the foundation other than financially through their own time, efforts. And I really thank all of you for making our scholarship program so very successful. Thank you again.
Thank you, Sudha. Thank you so much. Once again, a big thank you to each one of you for making a difference in the world of our scholars through your selfless service, dedication, and commitment. Today, we also have with us several dignitaries from various colleges. Thank you very much for joining us this evening and being a part of this event. Moving on, this event will not be complete without recognizing our alumni whose time and support in all forms is deeply valued. We are thankful to all FFE alumni who are joining us this evening. We take this opportunity to celebrate and recognize our alumni champions of 2021 who have committed to support the organization in different ways, be it through individual donations or helping us establish partnerships with other donors, helping us raise funds worldwide, or being our star mentors and facilitators. Our alumni are all over. Please cheer for our alumni champions who are up on your screen now. Thank you once again to all our alumni champions for your noteworthy and commendable efforts. We have a wonderful message now from one of our alumni, Mr. Dinkar Tiwari, who graduated in the year 2017 and is currently working with Coal India Limited at Singrauli in Madhya Pradesh. Let us now listen to what Mr. Dinkar has to say.
Hi everyone. I'm Dinkar Tiwari and currently working as Assistant Manager Mining in the Corporate Planning Department of Coal India Limited. I have graduated from NIT Raipur in the year of 2017 and I got a scholarship in my graduation year, that is 2013 to 2017. I belong to a very humble family, and I have 4 siblings, and it was very difficult for my parents to bring up all 4 childs together. But during the course of time, I came to know that FFE exists, and it was really benevolent for me, as it has supported me throughout my graduation financially pretty much. And during the course of time, I was able to secure good marks, even get myself into 2 companies, and then I was also able to score All India rank 97 in the GATE. All this was possible for the mental support that was provided by the FFE. In the end, I would like to request to all my alumni of FFE to contribute. Even the small contribution might make a very big difference, as it is often said that helping one might not change the world, but it might change the world of the one who is helped. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dinkar, and we truly appreciate the fact that you have stayed connected with FFE. Coming up next, we have engineering scholars Harshita Sharma and Rajendra Tamersi, medical scholars Hemant Prajapat and Varda Aslam, along with law scholar Shreya Datta, sharing their experiences as an FFE scholar. Can we have their videos, please?
Hello and good evening. I am Harshita Sharma. I am a third year BTech student in MNIT Jaipur, and my engineering discipline is metallurgical and materials engineering. My father is a private servant in an electromax shop, and my mother is a housewife, and so my family background is economically backward. My younger brother just completed his 12th and is preparing for the NEET examination. I did my schooling in RBSc medium and secured 93.5 in class 10 and 93.4 in class 12th examination. Along with that, I cleared my JEE entrance with 25,611th rank and got MNIT Jaipur. My family has always faced financial problems, but despite that, they always try to give us the best educational facilities they can. So they again took a loan and I got admission in the college. Fortunately, during my first year, I was introduced to FFE scholarship by one of my seniors, who is also an FFE scholar. I am very grateful to get connected to FFE because with their support, I am totally focused on my studies and preparing myself to get a good designation job in a reputed company. FFE is not just a financial help. It also focuses on the overall development of the scholars. It provided me with career-oriented Coursera courses to learn the courses of my interest and helped me in skill development through various webinars and assessments like MCAT test. It also provided one-to-one student mentorship program, which really helped me a lot in developing my communication skill. I am very thankful to my mentor Narayani ma'am for her wonderful mentoring. FFE has helped me in every aspect, and I would like to thank Team FFE, my donor S&P Global, and my facilitator Sanjeev sir for their constant support. I will like to come forward in the future to help the organization in its very notion of helping the passionate students. Thank you.
Namaste everyone. Myself Rajendra Tamersi here. I am pursuing my Bachelor of Technology from NIT Hamirpur, Himachal Pradesh. And Electronics and Communication Engineering is my discipline. Being an engineer, I am always fascinated about the new technologies in my field. Other than electronics, reading the news channels and philosophy are my interests. As my father is an agriculture farmer and I have 2 siblings, it is sometimes hard for my father to support my education, and he should also support my 2 siblings. At that time, I got to know about the Foundation for Excellence through my senior and also an FFE scholar in NIT. He introduced me for the FFE scholarships. Once I got enrolled and I got selected for the FFE, and I including with the financial assistance, I also got skill development sessions. Inguru, and they mapped me with the Inguru and MCAT test series. With the Inguru, I am able to develop my communication skills. With the MCAT, it gave me the good confidence for the upcoming placement sessions. And I'm from the bottom of the heart, I thank to the my respective felicitator and the donor Sri Aryan Jain sir for funding my education. Once I'm done with my education, I will give back to my FFE community. Thank you for giving this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I am Syed, a very proud scholar of FFE. It is my pleasure to be associated with such a great organization with such humble and always welcoming team members. Talking about myself, I am a law student and the course that I am pursuing is BBLLB Honours. I have Honours in Criminology from NEF Law College affiliated by Guwahati University. My hometown is Agartala, Tripura. I have done my schooling from Kendriya Vidyalaya Kunjavan, Agartala. I lost my father due to stomach cancer when I was in class 3. Since then, I witnessed my mother's struggle in order to provide each and every necessity for our family. She is the biggest inspiration of my life. FFE has helped me to support my educational expenses on my own in a great margin. While I was in school, I always urged to play badminton. I really enjoyed the sport. My hobbies are story writing, reading ghost stories, and spending time with my family. I scored 8.4 CGPA in class 10 and 84.3 marks percentage in class 12 in commerce field. I came to know about FFE from Google, and it was also advised by my facilitator, Mr. Mainak Sinha. I am truly thankful to my donor, Mr. Mahesh Krishnamurthy, FFE team, and my facilitator, Mr. Mainak Sinha, for providing me this golden opportunity. Lastly, I extend my gratitude and promise to support the students who are in need whenever I will be financially stable. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, myself Hemant Prajapat, final year MBBS student at RUHS Medical College, Jaipur. I belong to a small town, Chhattisgarh, located in the state of Rajasthan. I have a younger sister who is in class 12th. My mother died when I was in class 10th and my father expired when I was in class 12th because of the oral cancer during the time of my board exams. I got 92% in my class 10th and 93% in class 12th, and luckily I was the topper of the school. Then I decided to go to Kota for coaching of NEET. My school principal helped me during the time of my coaching. After 1 year of coaching, I got an AIR of 7800 in NEET and I got here. I have an interest in playing carom and reading novels. I have also participated in the various carom tournaments which were being held at my college level. I wish to do MS in surgery after my graduation and MCH in oncology, because when I study about cancers and their treatments, it always fascinates me. I read about FFE through an article on Google. Then I would like to thank FFE for helping me financially all these 3 years and academically since last 1 year by conducting webinars which are very helpful and knowledgeable. I would especially like to thank my donor Ramji Patel and my facilitator Anju ma'am for helping me. I wish to support FFE in future when I get succeed, and various other students like me who are in needs. Thank you.
Hope everyone is doing fine. This is Varda Aslam, a third year MBBS student from Jammu and Kashmir, Srinagar. I scored 96% marks in my 10th standard and 86% marks in my 12th standard. I qualified NEET and got admitted to Government Medical College, Srinagar with a state rank of 91. I belong to a lower middle class family with 4 members. My father is a barber and my mother is a homemaker, and my younger sister is currently pursuing arts. I was introduced to FFE by my facilitator Dr. Roshan Ara because it was very difficult to meet the expenses of medical education for me. I am immensely thankful to FFE team for extending this vital support to students like me in the difficult times. FFE not only met my financial and educational needs but also conducted various FFE medical webinars that provided me with insights towards diverse medical fields. I am profoundly thankful and find myself lucky that FFE happened in my life, for which I want to thank my facilitator Dr. Roshan Ara ma'am. In future, I would also like to support students like me in the same way as FFE did.
Thank you, dear scholars. We are all very proud of you and we wish you the very best for your future. It is indeed heartening to see that more than 600 scholars have joined us this evening, and it makes us feel both proud and humbled. Thank you once again. And with this, we have come to the end of today's event. On behalf of the board, management, and team at FFE, I would like to thank each one of you for being with us today. This event was made possible only because of your support. Thank you, Mr. Syed Sultan, for sharing your inspirational journey with our scholars. Our sincere thanks to Sri Ranjani Ranganath and Mr. Edwin Moses from Cognizant Foundation, Ms. Smita Jaibhaye, Ms. Shachi Kaul, Mr. Saurabh Dikshit, Mr. Shivashankar, Mr. Sumit Chauhan from RBL Bank, Ms. Hemavati and Ms. Sumitra from NASDAQ Corporate Solutions, India Private Limited, Ms. Geeta Narendra from Veda Solution, Ms. Karpagavali from Shiva and Royan Foundation, and Ms. Lata Gopalakrishna for joining us today. We truly appreciate the time spent with us this evening. I would also like to thank our respected dignitaries representing Bhilai Institute of Technology, Durg and Raipur, Government Engineering College, Bilaspur, Sri Shankaracharya Group of Institutions, Bhilai, Sardar Patel Medical College, Bikaner, RVRS Medical College, Rajasthan, Engineering College, Mizoram University, NIT Agartala and Hamirpur, IIT Guwahati and Bhilai, AIIMS Raipur, and IIIT Naya Raipur. Thank you all very much for your time and support towards FFE. Thank you, Mr. Ashok Ghosh and Mr. Sunil Indoria, FFE alumni, Mr. Dinkar, FFE scholars Harshita, Rajendra, Hemant, Varda, and Shreya for sending us your wonderful messages. Thank you, respected facilitators and mentors, for your valuable time. A special thanks to all the students and alumni present here. And last but not the least, thank you, FFE's management, for your continuous support, and to the FFE team for organizing this event. Thank you all once again.